Welcome back, my friends, to the Derate podcast. I am your host, Wilk of WilksWorld.com, and this is going to be episode 91 of the podcast. Now, have you ever heard of the winter blues? I'm sure if you live in a northern state, or to be fair to our international listeners, an area of the planet that gets the much shorter days, lots of snow and ice and all the fun stuff that comes along with that. There's a thing called the winter blues, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that this week, and try not to trail off too much. But first, we did not create the hate, but with your help, we can derate the hate. It's all about bettering the world one attitude at a time, and we do that by bettering our lives. So what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? It's all about us as individuals making our lives better lives, and in turn making the world a better place. So, again, we did not create the hate, but with your help, we can derate the hate. And that just takes you coming along with me. Friends, if you haven't done so, please share these episodes with your friends. The message is only as good as all those who get a chance to hear it. So, if you aren't sharing the Derate the Hate podcast already, please do so, whether it be on social media or with your email list or whoever. It's very important that we get the word out about the Derate the Hate podcast. We got a lot of important topics. We had a lot of great guests last year. We're looking to line up some more great guests this year. And the more you help me to get the word out, the more people we can help to make this world a better place. So again, share us wherever you get the opportunity. I greatly appreciate it. And wherever you can leave a feedback or leave a review, please do that as well. So let's dive right into it. The winter blues. Now, I got this idea from a conversation that I was having with some friends a few weeks back. And one of my friends, Apple, mentioned the winter solstice. So I got to thinking about that and him talking about the days starting to get longer again. If you're not familiar with the winter solstice, it used to be symbolized, well, in many cultures, was symbolized by festivals and things, because it symbolizes, or it is the day, depending on the hemisphere, the day with the shortest amount of sunlight. So after the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the days start getting longer again, or the period of the day where we actually have sunlight starts to get longer again. And having lived a large portion of my life in the upper Midwest, I am very familiar with the fact that a lot of people in this kind of climate do get what's called the winter blues. I mean, you get up in the morning, you're getting ready for work, it's dark, you're driving to work in the dark, you get to work, you spend all day working, and then you go home and it's dark, and it's cold, and it's icy, and it's just blah, miserable, right? Well, you can take it from me, also somebody who lived down south for a large portion of my life. I lived in Florida for 13 years. A lot of the regular listeners know that. And down south, we didn't really have the winter blues. There wasn't a whole lot of winter blues going on there. In fact, if you look at the statistics, the people that actually suffer from the winter blues in these northern type atmospheres, maybe about 10% of the population, but then in the southern states, being in North America, Northern Hemisphere, southern states, where they don't deal with the kinds of environmental challenges, we'll call them, in the upper Midwest. So down there, it's only about maybe 1%. Because the days, obviously, the days do, I don't care where you're at, the days are going to get shorter during certain periods of the year and longer during others. But, up here in the northern Midwest, where I currently live right now in Minnesota, thankfully now the days are getting longer again, but the reality is there's a very defined part of the year, winter solstice, when that period of daylight very short, and it really starts to take its toll on people. Now the winter blues is something that leads to sometimes what's called the seasonal affective disorder, SAD, which is a little more severe than just a case of the blues. The winter blues might manifest itself in some, mild sadness, trouble sleeping a little bit, lack of motivation, that kind of thing. But when it comes to true seasonal affective disorder, that's something a little bit more serious. We're talking about serious depression, serious mood disorders, sleeping or eating disorders that come about because of it, deep depression that affects your ability to actually function normally, like you would other times of the year. So this thing called SAD, seasonal affective disorder, can be a much more serious problem than a little case of the winter blues, and it's something that you want to keep an eye on. And there's ways that we can, as individuals, do things to help us out, when we start to suffer from the winter blues. And let's face it, despite what some people might tell you, the winter is not going away anytime soon. So when we have these periods of time, we've got the shorter days, we've got the colder weather, we've got the ice, we've got the snow, we've got all the misery that comes along with that. We have to figure out ways to get through the winter without the winter blues, or at least try to keep the winter blues at bay so they don't become something more serious like seasonal affective disorder. So, some articles that I've been looking at while doing some research to bring to the DTH listeners, I'm going to tell you about some ways to battle the winter blues, things we can do as individuals, some things we may be able to do as groups, but nonetheless, let's figure out a way to get through the winter and beat the winter blues. So this 10 tips to help beat the winter blues comes to us via an article in verywellmind.com. 10 tips to help beat the winter blues. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I'm going to bring it to you. So here we go. Number 1, take a break from the news. I'm telling you to do that all the time anyway. You need to take a break from the news. Being inside, being isolated like we are during this pandemic, and then you combine that with the cold winter, just take a break from the news. Limit the amount of time you spend on the screens, checking out social media and the news, and all the doom and gloom that comes along with that. Seriously, limit it. Limit it to, if you can limit it to every other day or once a week, that's probably best. But here it says, limit it to an hour a day. I'd shoot for something less if it was me. Boost your mood with food. Simply changing your diet is a good way to beat the winter blues. I'm not one much for diets. If anybody's seen me lately, it's probably not my strong suit, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But more protein, more vitamin D, definitely ways to help beat the winter blues. Keeping your sleep routine up. A consistent sleep routine is so important for our mind, our body, our health. It really is. So going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, not using electronics in the bedroom, sleeping in a cool bedroom. Going back to the electronics thing. I mean, if you're listening to the Derate the 8 podcast, that's okay. But let's try to stay away from social media and staring at the screen right before bed, things like that. It's just not healthy. It doesn't allow your brain to calm down the way that it needs to get a good night's sleep and to improve that sleep cycle. So lights off, electronics off, clear your mind, and get a good night's sleep. And then when you get up in the morning, get some bright lights and activity right away. Some physical activity right away in the morning, definitely known to boost the mood, help with battling depression, sadness, things like that. So winter blues, you want to battle them, get some physical activity right away when you get up in the morning. Another thing is not be over ambitious with your goals. Don't set goals that you're probably not going to achieve, and then you just end up making yourself feel worse anyway. So if you're thinking about taking a 30-minute walk, do 10. Whatever. Make it achievable. Make it a attainable goal as opposed to something that you're not going to attain and make yourself feel worse. So maybe if your goal is to do 30-minute walk a day or 30 minutes of physical activity, split it up throughout the day. Do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, and 10 minutes in the evening. Something like that. Do a 10-10-10 plan, according to that Very Well Mind site that I was just talking about. That's their suggestion. Not a bad idea. Next is having a strong support system. And this actually hits deep right now for a lot of people because loneliness and isolation is one of the biggest problems we face right now because of the government's reaction to the pandemic. With the chaotic, sporadic, and inconsistent information we've been getting, and people just isolating and keeping themselves away from everybody out of fear because of this illness, a lot of people just don't have that support system anymore. They don't have people that they can go to. Human beings are social creatures. We are meant to interact. We are meant to socialize. I understand. If you're scared and you don't want to be around people, that's fine. Keep your social network on speed dial. Download Zoom. Do whatever you have to do to try and socialize as much as you can with other people. It's very, very important for our mental health. Next, do whatever you can to seek out the sun. Get as much sunlight as you can. If it's too cold, we had periods of time over the past few days in Minnesota where it was 25 below zero. Not very practical to go out and seek the sun because even if you are outside, you're not getting too much sun. But seriously, get a chair, get near a window, try to get exposure to as much sun as possible, depending on what your conditions are. If you've got the means to do so, take a vacation, get down south, spend some time on the beach. If you can't, put a chair near the window. Just spending 1 to 2 hours in that natural light environment helps to boost serotonin levels, vitamin D levels. So important for our mental and physical health. And then obviously, in more severe cases of SAD, seasonal affective disorder, you may have to seek out things like, light therapy, counseling, or, with a professional of some sort, or even medication. And obviously, I believe medications probably should be the last resort. In most situations, I think medication should be the last resort, but may be needed. It may be needed. The winter blues, it's a very real thing. In most cases, very, very mild, but in some cases, it does get bad, and that's why they call it SAD, seasonal affective disorder. And so not a long episode this week. It's first couple weeks in January, wrapping up the holidays. People are coming down off that holiday high that they had. We're not hearing the Christmas music. We don't see all the sparkly lights and things anymore. And now it's just kind of waiting for spring to get here. And people do get sad. They get the winter blues. And hopefully the Derate the Hate podcast has brought something to you that helps to alleviate and beat those winter blues. I will put links to some of this stuff in the show notes. So greatly appreciate the writing there in verywellmind.com. Again, I want to ask all you listeners, if something I've said helps to better your life in some way, please share us with your friends. Share us on social media or wherever you think we can get the most exposure. It's so important for the cause, and we're just out here trying to better the world one attitude at a time. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up. Get out there, be kind to one another, be grateful for everything that you've got, and remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. I'm so incredibly grateful for all the support, and if you've got something to share with me, hit me up on the email, wilk@wilkswell.com. With that, I'm going to back on out of here, and we